Hello, Taurus. Alright, I'm still working my way through the major arcana, and next on deck is, after the soulmate couples, the power couples, the elemental couples upload. I have two more to upload. They just take all day long, so I'm using my phone and data, and so if I'm doing anything else with my phone, my phone overheats and it's a whole thing. But once those upload, the next on deck is the Hierophant, which is Taurus. But the major arcana readings that I'm doing are for everybody. They're just for people that are members of the community and the collective that are going through that energy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be their sign, but Taurus is the most faithful sign here, and I would say anywhere, but I'm getting this very low vibrational frequency for the Taurus collective, so I feel the need to jump in here and do a reading so we can check ourselves. Oh no. So I was just listening to a reading of a reader who I stopped listening to because every single one of their readings, even though they were labeled singles, and I've actually phased out a lot of readers and just listening to tarot in general for my own sign confirmations and everything like that, because every single reading I listen to for singles is past energy. And the last one that I just listened to, the Devil was the first card that popped out, and I just stopped listening to it because I was like, okay, I know where this is going, and I'm sick and tired of this. So I'm sick and tired of the same fucking energy, past energy coming in, and so I feel like I need to check in with the collective. And when I look at the comments, I see people, a lot of the Taurian collective is saying the same thing. Yep, that's this person. They're married. They're with someone else. They're not going to leave them. I'm waiting on them. I wish we could work it out. It's that holding on to that Hollywood twin flame connection that I'm always talking about, that I cannot stand. It's idolized, and it's looked at as being divine and destined and fate, and I think it's just absolute garbage, because we are the creators of our own destiny. We are the creators of our own reality. There's a ladybug on the outside of the window here, which is a point of reference, or maybe a confirmation for some. It's confirmation for me, from the film Under the Tuscan Sun, where she's longing for love. She's had her heart broken. She was cheated on. She was deceived. Her whole world is blown apart. She's divorced. She goes on this trip that her best friends get her, this romantic trip of Tuscany, and she ends up buying, spoiler alert, this is all within this is kind of the point, so it's not a spoiler. She ends up buying a villa in Tuscany, and she's constantly looking for love in all the wrong places, right? And she's like not reading the signs, and she literally is like cursing the gods, and she's like, what am I doing? Like, what do you want from me? And so there's that kind of that wounded warrior, that victim mentality of like, this is all happening to me and not for me. And her friend that she makes there, who's this very Empress Venusian, like sort of regal lover lady. She's very romantic and artistic, and she takes on lots of lovers, and she's very casual, and she feels like a Libra, but definitely Venusian, so there's a bit of a Taurian vibe there. And not that I'm condoning taking on lots of lovers or having casual connections. but she has this more free and light-hearted approach to finding love. And something she tells her is, look for, I was looking for ladybugs when I was a child. I'm going on this long rant about this film, but I feel like this is an important message, so I'm going to go with it. And I'm a cinephile, if you haven't figured that out yet. So if you don't like films, then I don't know what to tell you. This is not the place for you. So yeah, whoever you are, get out of here if you don't want to listen to this. Fuck. So she tells her, when I was a child, I was looking for ladybugs and I couldn't find any. Finally, I got so tired I fell asleep in the grass, and when I woke up, they were crawling all over me. And she's basically telling her, just wait, stop looking, stop longing, stop chasing it, and, it will come to you, right? So the ladybugs are a confirmation of just coming into a place of patience, right? Ladybugs come to you when you're in, if you've ever noticed, ladybugs, butterflies, they land on you when you're in a place of calm and serenity, right? So come into a place of calm and serenity. So in this reading that I was listening to, the first card out was the Devil, and as I'm shuffling, this literally somersaulted the fuck out of the deck. Like, I'm back, bitches. So I creep. It's me again, and I'm back. You have this creepy energy that is trying to sabotage your joy. And I'm just going to put that sucker back in the deck there. Clear the fear. Because I'm sick of it. You could be dealing with a Capricorn as well, and they just have a bad rap for being the devil, but that's very Saturn energy. I mean, the Devil, Capricorn, is Saturn energy. That's root chakra. That's all about attachments, all right, and elimination and releasing. That's wild. There's two planes flying in the window, and one's flying like this and one's flying like this, and it almost looks like a high-speed chase. Like they're going to crash into each other, but the other one you can tell is at a different elevation, and they're probably a mile or so apart anyway, but there is that sort of, like, you can miss this head-on, you can miss this collision. It's like somebody's coming, but you're changing direction, all right? You must, for the collective sake, you must change direction, okay? And that direction is forward, okay? It can be left, it can be right, it can be due northeast, due northwest, but go north. Follow your truth, because if you start going south, if you start going back, all right, that's how you get that backed up, that constipated energy, right? And you could be dealing with constipation or digestive issues, right? Anxiety, it all starts in the gut. The gut is the brain of our immune system, right? It tells us, it sends signals of everything that we're taking in, all the energy that we're taking in, the diaphragm, the gut, that tells us, that signals to the nervous system, whether or not we are in a fear-based place, right? Because if we're shallow breathing, if we're constricted and in a fear-based place, if we're waiting, if we're bracing ourselves for impact, right? Then it's like, this is the universe like throwing that oxygen mask down and saying, like, put it on yourself. Stop worrying about putting the mask on other people. Like, you likely dealt with a karmic cycle, right? A karmic twin, which feels very much like a twin flame, right? It's meant to be put, they are put into place. That energy is put in your space as a tower moment. It is, are you going to hold yourself accountable for what you said you wanted, what you truly are aligned with desiring? Or are you going to settle for what, your lower vibrations tell you deserve, right? And so they are like clockwork. They are going to come in, and every single time, right before you get into something that is divinely aligned with you, and they're going to try and distract you from it. They're going to try and deter you from it. They're going to try and pull you back into that attachment. It's your job, it's your divine duty to cut that cord, okay? Stop fucking with the past. I want to start seeing this collective energy and this collective feedback of raised vibrations of the Taurian collective. All right, we are the Hierophant. We are the prophets. We are the ones who, and in conjunction with the Hanged Man, all right, this High Priestess energy, right, Piscean energy, the third eye. If our immune system, brains, right, if our stomach is telling us, okay, they're constricted, the nervous system, they're not breathing, our inspiration is not going to fuel, our solar plexus are not going to fuel our heart space, we're not releasing something, we're backed up, our chakras are blocked, they're overflowing, they're underflowing, there's a blockage in there, and that blockage has to be eliminated. How do you do that? You have to do right by yourself, right? You have to eat well, think well, be well, and speak well, right? So that's going to be uncomfortable for this collective, this particular collective, because these are the children of chaos. These are the ones who are used to the chaos. They function well under pressure. It's not that they function well under pressure. That's just where they function, right? And so anything else is foreign to them. And so being in a place of peace. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Maybe your name's Peter. Maybe you like pickles, or pickled peppers. But that's also like pickled things, fermented, kombucha, kimchi. I've never had kimchi. I don't know why, like limpy greens kind of freak me out. And I don't like pickles, but I like salt and vinegar chips. So, and just a side note, I actually got some salt and vinegar chips not too long ago because it's been really hot, and I've been doing this temperance. Clearly I just got out of a cold shower because I got my box fan back there because I'm still doing this no AC cold showers, which I'm loving the cold showers because the no AC and it's hotter than hell, it's really working out to my benefit in that sense. But I thought, oh yes, I'm really like salty chips would be really good right now, and they were awful. And I don't know if it's just the brand that I got or what, but I think it's just like I'm naturally wanting to eat things that are more hydrating, things that are better for me, right? So it's just interesting when you challenge yourself, when you put yourself under pressure, the strength that you will find, right? Our bones build when we put them under pressure. If we put them under too much acute pressure, then we have breaks, right? So there's that slow and steady application of pressure that we are known for, right? We're very good at doing that for others. We're good at the bull. We are good at bearing the burden of others and bearing the weight of others and pursuing and doing the work for others, all right? And so the devil could talk about, because we're going to flip all this script. We're going to flip it. So the devil is Capricorn, the workaholics, right? This can be like a 10 of Wands energy, needing to get out of working for others, putting in energy for others, putting that energy into ourselves, because chasing these other people, even if this is your person, which I do not believe that a divine union, all right, that's just energy. Divine union is not a runner-chaser situation. Both are ready, and they are both healed and prepared and decisive for this connection. And that's when they come together. So all divine unions are twin flames, but not all twin flame connections end up in a divine union, right? So if you're in this runner chaser thing, then it's like, let go and let God, right? If you love it, let it go. If it comes back, it's meant to be, and all of that. And all that jazz. So, really releasing it, but not releasing it and watching. I saw a lot of comments on other channels where people are reaching out and just, and you know, the Taurian individuals that I talked to in person also are very much like, and I think it comes from a place of, because once a Taurus is done, they're done, but it takes them a long time. Like once they get going, good luck stopping them, but it's getting them started, right? It's that decision, that break, right? You probably you know, like decide what you're gonna do with your hair or your wardrobe, or like what music you're gonna listen to, what movie you're gonna watch, right? Like where you're gonna go to eat or whatever. Like it might take you a while to decide, but once you do, it's like that's what's happening. Then we get fixed on that. And I find a lot of them they're dipping into the past. They're watching old people, and I think that comes from our place of loyalty, right? Taurians are notorious for being loyal. They can be loyal to a fault, right? You could also have Cancer in your chart, or have been dealing with the Cancer, but Cancers can also be this way, where it's like they overly invest, right? They get in deep, they get in fast, and then and that's like the one area where, which if you're a Taurus with a Cancer moon, then like you're fucked. No, then you get in really deep and fast, and that indulgence comes in, and then that trust is broken, right? And we're really good at seeing potential, and so there's a when you fall for potential, it's like an external potential that we're falling for. That's the attachment to others, and you may think that you're being loyal and helpful to others by believing in their potential, but what you're actually doing is loving them conditionally, because you're saying, I would be with you, I would invest in you, I would love you unconditionally, I would be there, I would be your partner if, and there is no if on love. There's no if, ands, or buts with love. Love, unconditional love, is just love. All right? And so what you're saying is that they're not good enough, right? So falling in love with the potential of others is manipulative, all right? The only potential that we need to fall in love with, that we're obligated to fall in love with, is our own, all right? And I think that there's like a forgetfulness of, oh yeah, instead of trying to change and improve the situation, right? Because the Hierophant is like a religious leader. They're a divine prophet and mediator of the 5D and the 3D, right? So in whatever religious or spiritual context you put that in, or cultural context you put that in, they're like the oracle, right? Between that and with the voice, right? They speak the truth between the 5D and the 3D, which is here, right? The higher chakras, right? And the third eye, and then all the way down to the root, right? So that is the sort of life path of a Hierophant. You can be a Taurus and not be a Hierophant, right? But when you get into a divine place, or you want to get into a divine place, like you're called to it, that is the struggle, right? That's the biggest struggle, is that we often deal with the fact that we are indulgent in our lower vibrations of being attached, falling in love with potential, waiting for somebody else to say, all right, let's go this way, instead of being the leaders of our own destiny and our own path. And I think that if you think about bulls, most of them, cows, they are they're exploited in a way. They have been heavily exploited for work, for food, and for their secretions. All right, so from a vegan perspective, there is a spiritual misalignment with consuming animal products in that sense, especially if you are a Taurus, consuming cows, like consuming cow meat, or their secretions. You're like interrupting. Just look into dairy is scary or cowspiracy if you're interested in that. I'm not going to get on that tangent, but draw some parallels there for like what you're putting into your body, because if you're consuming that fear, if you're consuming that exploitation and all of the enslavement, like the forced insemination, the taking of the babies, if you're consuming all of that, I mean, for anybody, that's not good. But particularly, like that's your totem animal, and so it's like it would be like a Pisces eating a lot of fish, right? I think it's going to spiritually and energetically affect that individual more, because it's like energetic cannibalism and spiritual cannibalism. So instead of exploiting yourself and subjecting yourself to that, chasing and doing for others and just being a vessel of procreation and secreting for others. That was weird. It was like the lights went all out. But none of the lights are on. It's the sun went out. Black old sun. So it's, yeah, there's something in that. All right, let's go ahead and see. That's too many. Yeah, we got the Two of Cups. Twos. Anytime there's a two, that is partnership, that is love, but it's always a choice involved. And really, the World in reverse. Anytime that you choose the past, what you're essentially doing is not choosing yourself. So this is not a choice between two people necessarily in the literal world, because the idea that you're not going to line up with your divine counterpart if you've got other energies in there. They might be in your sphere or something, but you're not even going to recognize them, and they're not going to be attracted to you if they're divinely aligned, because divine attraction is different than this whole Hollywood runner chaser twin flame lower vibration attraction. When you're talking about attraction of the higher senses, of the higher chakras, it's a recognition of energy, of frequency. And if you're not on that frequency, your person is not going to recognize you. If you guys work together, if you cross paths all the time, you're not going to be able to come together until you get on that frequency. I feel like I'm reprimanding. Yeah, Eight of Wands, Nine of Swords, Knight of Swords. Nine of Swords is loss of sleep. You could be sleeping poorly. Aha. Ten of Wands. There it is. This is overworking for others, needing to end that shit, and coming to a place of like Six of Wands, working for yourself. I mean, you could literally need to quit a job, right? Get into a new profession. But energetically speaking, this is working for yourself. Now, if you're not, this isn't saying leave a job. If you're perfectly happy at a job, you're making money at a job, whatever, if it's doing what it needs to do for you on your divine path, then this is about catering to yourself. And you could be in a job that's actually really suitable for your divine path, or really close to it. But again, you're not going to get that promotion if you're not on your divine path. You won't get promoted in your divine path. You might get promoted on an egocentric success path, right? So there could be confusion there. You could be like, I'm doing really well at work, I got it going on, but yeah, we're talking about this path. We're talking about success and promotion, energetic promotion, spiritual promotion, elevation, like leveling up, getting on a higher frequency. And so there's that high priestess as well. And see how she's burned? Because I accidentally burned her with sage one day. Right there. But it's kind of like, this is a guarded individual. If your heart space is guarded, then you can't love unconditionally. All right. And so if you're happy at work, right, this isn't literally about your job, but I feel like your work is very important. It's very instrumental in the process and the path on your path. That's all, folks. Woodpeckers, Woody the Woodpecker, or no, that's Porky the Pig, right? But that's all, folks. Yeah. Pigs. I don't know. Babe Charlotte's Web. The High Priestess is like a spider. My very first deck, she looked like there was this kind of web behind her. Yeah, it's like creating this new web, this new destiny. It could be something that you're doing online, the World Wide Web, with the world in reverse. There could be something that you want to launch, but you're afraid to. And it's like you're staying where you're safe, where you are perceived as safe, but this is actually a greater threat to your soul. All right? This is about to get heavy. This is a great threat to your soul, because with the divine union and divine path, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about soul alignment. We're talking about the everlasting, under the surface, ethereal war that rages on, all right, between good and evil. And that evil, that devil energy is trying to get in there, right? We have this like devil-looking goat creature, right? Again, could be dealing with a Capricorn. Or there's just that like workaholism, attachment. And then we have the lion. And then we have the two fish at the top with Pisces, right? So we've got cardinal energy, we've got fixed energy, and we've got mutable energy. We've got all the modalities here. Modalities, mode of transport, mode of operation. So yeah, there could be something that you're wanting to look at. I mean, you could meet this person through a dating app. They could be at a distance from you, and that if you don't put yourself out there into this endeavor, whatever this pursuit is, whatever this passion is, it's part of your calling. It's not just like, oh, I want to try that. It's not like OnlyFans, right? It's, you know who you are. Stop subjecting yourself to lower vibrations. You're better than that. So if you put yourself out there, you have to put yourself out there. Promote yourself. Stop waiting for somebody else to tell you that it's time to launch this thing, to do this thing, to express this thing. Because those individuals that you're waiting on are the devil. Those are the ones who don't want you to actually bring this into the upright and receive all the divine blessings that are coming. Yeah, we've got the ships, we've got the castle, travel, and there's that Eight of Swords. So I was getting that Knight of Swords, Nine of Swords. This is anxiety. I usually don't like to talk about overthinking, because I feel like most of the time when people tell you, oh, you're overthinking, it's because they're underthinking. 29:29 on the clock there. Right, it's more about them. And they're basically calling you crazy or something like that. So I think that there's typically a pejorative context to overthinking. when other people tell you, like, stop overthinking the world or the Wheel of Fortune again. Not again. I thought the world. This is fortune coming in, but it's in reverse. This is divine fortune coming in. And then we have the sun. There's Leo energy. I didn't mean to roll my eyes at that. King of Wands. You could be dealing with a Leo. But this is like the lion heart, all right? This is the lion... this is the good and the evil, right? This is the following the heart space, right? Versus the attachments, the root, the lower vibrations, right? This is following the heart and letting the solar plexus really flex and open up, the diaphragm to contract and allow that negative space in the body to bring in some positive reinforcements for this kind of battle. Now with the Leo, I was getting, you could be seeing in readings around you, you could be seeing the sign of this person, if you have a person in mind, that's like their sign, their name, numbers, some kind of synchronicity that reminds you of them. And so you might be going, oh, well, that's a sign we're meant to be together. That's the sign that that's my person. When you feel that on this process of detaching and disconnecting, breaking that connection, flip it and say, okay, well, there's something about that sign, about that frequency, that perceived frequency, right? Because this is, you're in love with potential. If they're not in your life and you guys are not together and you guys are not happy and strong and interdependent, if you're codependent, if you're any kind of like if there's any kind of trauma bond going on, then because you could be together, but if you're watching tarot readings to find out what's going on in your relationship, then that's a sign that you're not in the relationship. But there's something about the potential of that energy or of that person that you are attracted to, and that's where you need to bring your frequency. All right, so imagine the potential of what you're viewing or what you're expecting from this individual. If you have an individual in mind, which I feel like a lot of the Tauruses that I'm seeing do, if you have an idea of like what this could be, if they just did this, if they just left their wife, if they just stopped drinking, or if they stopped, if they were taller, or like if there's any if, ands, or buts to that particular individual, you are not loving them unconditionally, which means you're not loving yourself unconditionally, which means that you are, because you're not saying I'm worthy of waiting for the right person, for the whole person. I'm just willing to take these little bits and pieces and frustrate myself and aggravate myself with the fact that they are not that. And in turn, you're also continuing the trauma bond and the cycle of being abusive and conditional to this person. And they don't deserve that either. If they cheated, if they, deceived you, it doesn't matter. They don't deserve that. That's not your business to decide what they deserve for that. So if you're sticking around as a form of punishment, to be a reminder of how they traumatized you or how they deceived you, that's the devil energy. You're the devil in that situation. It's not your job to play God with others. You can only play God with yourself. Okay? So if you're attracted to something about that person, you're like, oh, they would be so amazing if that, then go into your meditation, go into your own space in the hermit mode, right? Get all that energy out, delete their numbers, block them, do what you have to do to get that energy out. Stop allowing them access, because if you're still trying, if they are a narcissistic or demonic influence, right? Whether conscious or subconsciously, then they're going to be attracted to the fact that you are loving them unconditionally, because that means you're loving yourself unconditionally, and they want you to degrade yourself. They want you to be in that lower vibration, and so they're going to continue to send out signals. And so when you see those little signals or those confirmations, that could just be them as well, right? When you're dreaming about them, that could be them thinking about you. But you have to be the one who's like, no. If you're still like, maybe, and you're still peeking on them, you're still Page of Swordsing them, then you're allowing them access. You're giving them permission to fuck with your energy. And you need to be more protective of your energy, because you've worked thus far, you got out of that situation, you made the decision intuitively at one point that that's not for me. So it's like when you're grocery shopping and you pick up a bag of junk, and you're like, I know this is gonna hurt my stomach. I know I'd probably be better off getting something else, and then you kind of put it back down, right? And then you come back around to it, and you're like, okay, I'll get it. Or you put it in your cart or your basket, and you walk around with it, and you're like, you're keeping the idea of trauma that you already know is coming, right? You already know the turnout. You already know that you'd be better off to get the bananas versus the pint of ice cream or whatever it is, right? And maybe make some banana ice cream. Maybe have a smoothie instead of a milkshake, right? You know that it's better for you, and intuitively and intellectually you know that, and that's the masculine energy that's leading you, that's trying to lead you out of a place of a broken heart, right? Because when your heart is broken, that means there's a fracture in your feminine energy that needs to be nurtured and taken care of. And if you're a parent, or if you didn't have good parents, or if you've just observed people, you know that parents that just say yes all the time and give in and overindulge and spoil their kids, right? They use that term like, oh, they're so spoiled, like it's a great thing. But we actually know, like, kids want regiment, they want routine, they want discipline, right? They need boundaries to really grow. Boundaries are how we grow. They're how we know how to navigate this world. They're how we know how to express ourselves and how to coexist, right? Because otherwise we turn into these little monsters and these narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic, self-indulgent, manipulative little monsters. We turn into devils. And so it's like you are reparenting yourself through this process, right? Through this process of shadow work. That's what we're doing here. We're reparenting ourselves. So you have to come into that father that never protected you or was not present, so that you can protect yourself and do what you know in your masculine energy, your divine masculine energy, is best for you. You're gonna make the hard choice. You're gonna put the hard no in place and say, I'm just not gonna do that to myself. And you're not gonna put it in your basket, because putting it in your basket is like you're basically, it's indecision. And so you're saying, I don't have the strength to say no to this thing. I don't have the strength to do what's right by myself. And you're sending that frequency out into the world and into the ethers. And so that's what you're going to get back. So if you think that these confirmations that you're seeing are confirmations that you're on the right path, then check in with yourself about why you feel so shitty, about why you, like, check in with your heart space. If you're crying, or if you're angry, or if you're overindulging, or you're attached to substances, right? 39:29 on the clock there. So it's like, before we came into a place with 29:29 that we were even, we were balanced, we were mirroring, and now it's like you've gone up 10, right? Which is an ending. So now it's like put you on different frequencies. So like attracts like is basically what I'm saying. Like attracts like. So if you're on a place where you're like, I thought these were the same. I thought these were both the world. And so what that tells me is this being in reverse is putting you in a place of when is my fortune coming in? Woe is me. It puts you into a 5, right? And the way that you end a 5 is to come into a 10, right? You round it up like you do in math, right? Round it up. There's those seabirds. The something swallowtail. And it looks like there's a little whale in the clouds. So yeah, maybe you're traveling to the ocean. Maybe you are dealing with a water sign, and the way that you cut out negative energy or lower vibrations is to get into the highest vibration of that. So if you see, say if you think that you're dealing with a Leo, then get into Leo, Sun, and strength energy, right? Get into your strength, get into your highest version of those, right? If you keep seeing the Sun and you think this is like the confirmation of an ex Leo that you're dealing with, you have Leo in your chart, and if you don't, you have access to fixed and fire energies within your chart, so you can just kind of do the math there and make it equal this energy, right? So say you have Aquarius in your chart, Scorpio in your chart, you're a fixed sign as Taurus. If you're a Taurus watching this, you can access, you can like loophole into the fixed energy of Leo by getting into your fixed earth energy, right? So you can come into a more earth place. Practically, you can walk barefoot, you can go garden, you can dig in the earth, you can go for a walk, right? Get into your earth energy. And then the Sun, fire energy, I mean, you could just go sit in the sun, you could do some sun gazing, sunbathing, right? But you could also get into that fire energy, which is the modality, right? The mode of transportation that we're talking about with the world here, mode of operation. Lack of education. What's that from? I feel like it's from an old Disney movie. Lack of education. Yeah, this is like, okay, so you're gonna get into the modality of the element. Okay, so fixed is the modality, that's earth, right? And if you're looking for fire, that's cardinal. Cardinal is fire, fixed is earth, mutable is air and water, right? It's the current, and then it's split between masculine and feminine. Masculine is air and fire, water and earth are feminine. So you can get into, and everything in the universe, everything, frequencies all come down to the ultimate duality is masculine and feminine. There's masculine and feminine duality, yin yang, in all things, in all energy, in all everything in nature, in the foods that we eat. There's masculine and feminine. Not male, not to be confused with male and female, although as a traditionalist I would say yes, there are, the reason that we are born women or men is to pursue a biological divine path, right, of propagating the species, which takes masculine and feminine to create. So this is also, the sun is also the child, it's also new creation, it's coming to heart center. And so if you're, Leo is, it's a masculine sign, it's a fire sign, it's cardinal energy, right? It's that fierce leadership, that very active energy of fire, but it's the modality, it's like mode of transportation, or like the supplemental energy to it is feminine. So this is a very like balanced way of like the highest frequency of that would be like a nice warm fire. It's got enough kindling, it's got earth, it's grounded, it's not like a mutable fire sign in a hyper masculinized way, like a Sagittarius that is heavy in their masculine energy and doesn't have enough of that water of the because they're mutable fire, and so it's not like they're in the they're not balanced between that air and that water to supplement their fire. If they're too much in their air, they're going to burn everything down. If they're too much in their water, they're going to snuff that fire out, right? They're going to put the fire out. So this is looking at things in an elemental way, and matching the energy that you are idealizing and infatuated with, but within yourself. Get yourself there, because if that's the energy that you want, it's not in that person. Get into that intellectual thing, right? It's like, oh, this milkshake would be good if it didn't hurt my stomach and make me, have diarrhea or whatever. But it does, right? So this is just looking at the facts, and stop looking at the idealized, the romanticized version of that, because that's the lower vibration of Piscean high priestess energy, is getting into that romanticized type thing. Romantic energy is not negative, it's not necessarily bad, but the lower vibration of that is that you can get attached to things. You can become indecisive because you're more wishy-washy, right? And that's mutable energy with water, right? So if you get too much into the romantic water energy of that aspect, then you're going to be like all water and no air of the mutable modality of Pisces. You're going to be, I don't know if that triangle makes sense, of the mutable signs, they're like triangles. Whereas like earth and fire are the most obvious masculine and feminine, right, dualities, where mutable energy is more androgynous, right, because it's following the current. Birds and fish are very similar, and so the mutable modality is water and air. And so they can get kind of mixed up on a lower vibration, where it's like, I'm following the current, I'm just doing whatever feels easiest, right? There's no like going against the grain. In a higher frequency, they come together as a triangle to supplement that, the sun sign of whatever it is. So with like Pisces, it's like if they're not in their third eye, if they're not in that higher frequency, if they're not in that masculine energy of the swords and air and intellect and using logic to lead all that water, then they're going to just be like getting washed away in the current. All right, and also like salmon is the Native American zodiac for Leo. And so you could have Pisces and Leo in your chart, right? Access these things. You have mutable energy in your chart somewhere. You have mutable signs around you somewhere. If not, then always return to the elements. Access them through like practical applications of the elements. From everything that you eat, everything that you do, get into balancing your masculine and feminine energy. But salmon is the Native American zodiac for Leo, and they swim upstream, all right? And then they get eaten by a bear, which is the Native American zodiac for Virgo. So yeah, could have Leo, could be dealing with someone with Virgo. Yeah, I feel like everyone who's really been brokenhearted, there's a Virgo involved, but that's my own path. The Eight of Cups this is cups. It's 8. It's infinity. It's the number which is on the strength card, so more Leo energy. We're all headed towards the sun, right? Sun is the center of the solar system. It's the center of our chakras. The heart space is what we are needing to align with. So if there's blockages anywhere in our chakras, that's going to be blocking our heart space. We're going to be in a fear-based place. We're going to be operating out of a place of lack. We're not going to be open and receptive to what is aligned with us, because we are not aligned with ourselves. We're hunched over, or we're too like active in the lower frequencies, right? Substance, sexual energy, our creative energy is going to be blocked because we're just like, you know, having casual relations, like I was talking about before. I don't condone, but this is a new cycle. 8 is the number of infinity. It's finding the strength to make a new cycle. And even though this person is like that wounded warrior, in that has been in that lack mentality of the 5 of cups, of like looking at, oh God, those 3 cups that spilt, the person that cheated or deceived or like looked elsewhere, you attracted them. You attracted them for that lesson. So it's like, get over it. I think the first reading was like, snap out of it. Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Jerry Seinfeld said that in a Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee episode, that if he were a therapist, that's what he would say to people. He would be a terrible therapist because he would just say like, snap out of it. And so it is kind of like, this is the individual making that choice in their masculine energy, using the fire that they have within them to lead them out of the moon, out of the lack mentality, out of the lack of clarity, the unknown. This celestial body correlation with chakras, sometimes the heart space is the moon. They're all kind of like, depending on where you look, you could find any of the signs coming from any part on the body. But the moon can be the heart space as well, which makes sense because the sun illuminates the moon. The moon is not a planet, right? Like Pluto. It's, even though it rules Cancer, and it's a major component to how we navigate this world, especially at night. If it's illuminated, it gives us light. It is a major celestial body. So the sun is not a planet, you know what I mean? It's a star. So, but that's like the sun and the moon. If you listen to that reading, that is the ultimate divine 5D version of the divine union, twin flame relationship, and that connection of like waiting for the right timing to come into that full illumination of each other. So the sun has to be full, the heart space has to be full. That's also like Ace of Cups, Empress energy, coming in and filling up your own cup and stop pouring into the cups of others. This is very kind of obvious advice, right? But it doesn't feel that obvious when you are romanticizing, or when you're wrapped up in idealism, or when you're in a trauma bond, right? When you get out of a really toxic connection, it seems very obvious. You're like, how did I even fall for that? What was I even attracted to? Right after the fact, hindsight's 20/20. But when you're in it, it's like the blinders are up, the rose-colored glasses are on, the veil is not lifted. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck we have the King of Wands and the Seven of Wands. All right, this is guarded, confused energy in your leadership, right? So if you're wanting a King of Wands, or if you're wanting a Queen of Wands, right? This is an example. If you're wanting a Queen of Wands, you got to become a King of Wands. If you're wanting a King of Wands, you got to become a Queen of Wands, which means you have to really empower yourself. 9 of Pentacles. You have to, this is Virgo energy. This is coming into that place of knowing where to find the salmon, that bear Virgo energy, right? They know to go upstream versus going downstream, right? The bears know, and it's usually like the peak of a waterfall, or like where there's like whitecaps. It's the most tumultuous area because they know that the fish are going to have to jump. They just know this intuitively, and it's a natural thing for them in their evolution of feeding themselves and survival. That that's where they need to go. So it's like you have to go into the fray. You have to go into the most tumultuous place, which is within. All right, the most tumultuous waters are within. They're never without. And you have to build up that courage. You have to build up that strength to move forward, to really follow the heart. You have to know your heart. So you have to go within to that heart space. You have to really, which means going against the external grain, which means going against the current, which means leaving a lot of your family, your friends, all the past lovers behind. Leave all those people. If you're friend zoning people, or if you're in the friend zone, he's just not that into you, right? Like, just let it go. I know that sounds like duh. There's that Five of Cups. I was talking about being in that Five of Cups, breaking that cycle. And the difference is 3. So the Three of Cups could be coming into threes, third eye, Holy Trinity, me, myself, and I, body, mind, and spirit, right? Aligning the threes. 3 could be very important to you. But if you experience a Three of Cups of a third-party situation in the past, that's a lower vibration of the Three of Cups. The higher vibration is celebration. Come into a place of celebrating, right? Fill up your cups and flip that script so that you are not stuck in that place of woe is me and like waiting for the ship to come in. That was never, it was never destined for the land that you were on, that you were headed toward. So yeah, there is something about meeting your person when you move jobs, when you get on the path, right? It's like you've kind of got lost in the woods. There's a bit of that, like, oh, I'm lost in the woods. I just watched that stop motion movie. This kind of reminds me of that movie, Stop Motion. Yeah, it's worth a watch, I guess. It's a kind of creepy movie. It wasn't that scary, but like at all. But I'm also a horror fan, so it might be very scary to you. But see, there's this like lost back and forth energy with the heart space, needing to get mobility in the heart space. And then we have the moon, of course, as confirmation of like coming out of confusion. But the moon is not all about lack of clarity. It's also, you can dance in the moonlight, right? But you have to cut these cords here. Like, don't let the moon control how you celebrate. Don't let the moon is also High Priestess and Piscean Cancer. It's very intuitive energy, right? So it's like, that can kind of be the lower vibration of this. Could be lack of clarity. The moon is controlling you. You're controlled by confusion, which if you feel confused with any connection or decision, then it's not for you, right? Because divine decisions are not confusing. They are decisions that are divine. But the higher vibration of this is allowing the moon, allowing your intuition to lead you, to go like, okay, I'm going with the flow. So you can go against the current, but go with the flow, right? It's like there's a faith in salmons going upstream. They know that that's the best place, right? There's an intuition there. So they're going against the current of what everyone else is doing, what all the ones who just want the easier path. Those are not going to spawn anything creative. Those are not going to, it's like they're going on faith, which is feminine, but they're using that strength of their physical endurance. That's the 3D and the 5D. It's using your physical endurance, your strength of the physical, of tangible masculine energy of what you know to be true based on experience, based on intellect, based on facts, and you are using it to get you up that waterfall, up that tumultuous path to the place that you know exists that's going to really cater to this creation. Wasp tapping on the window there. And there we go. There's that Six of Wands I was talking about, coming out of the Ten of Wands into the Six of Wands. Working for others, working for yourself. Doing what you know is right. Like, you can do this while working, literally working for others at a job, but it's, but not overexerting yourself, like just doing what you're paid to do. And if they want you to do more, the Page of Cups is flipped as well. If they want you to do more, then they can pay you more, right? And that might be a tower moment, that might be a breaking moment where it's like, you have to hold your own, you have to honor your strengths and your gifts. And everybody and everything that does not honor that as well will just fall to the wayside. All right, it will end because it's not aligned for you. And that it sucks in the moment. It's like, oh, I lost my job, or like when you really set that boundary and demand more for yourself, when you honor yourself, you will really see where all the dishonorable energy is. It will make itself known. Narcissists like nothing more than when you set a boundary, right? You can weed out a narcissist by setting boundaries. And that's not just a direct narcissist, that's the narcissistic energy, that's the evil, the manipulative, the vampiric energy that wants you to be. My nose is clicking. I've got congestion. It's clicking like crazy right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can hear it, so it's like, it's distracting me. But there is needing to set your boundaries, and that will challenge your ego, that will challenge your physical world, that will make things difficult for you in the physical way, but it will eventually really it will be a comfort to your spiritual body. But you have to use the mind, and that's that Six of Swords, to carry yourself, right? This is masculine energy. Wands and fire. Wands and fire. Swords and fire, right? Air and fire. You are really like fueling that fire, so it doesn't get snuffed out, right? Because if you have too much water on fire, it's going to just snuff out. So this is really you like fanning the flames, doing breath work. We have the Emperor at the bottom, and then we have the Four of Pentacles. That's that kind of. Now this looks like it could be a very like hoarding energy of. It could look very negative or like guarded, not open or receptive. But I feel like this is more like knowing your worth, guarding your worth. Because see, this little skeleton back here is going to try and like come in and take your money, right? No one's going to take the money. Damn, we got the Emperor and the Emperor here. But the Page of Swords, they're watching you, so they're going to be sending you little frequencies, little nods from the universe to lure you back in, and that's going to feel like it's destiny. It's not destiny. It's fucking manipulation, because you don't want a fucking Page of Swords, right? The Emperor and the Empress is what we're looking for here. We got two Emperors here. So it's like, this is like the Golden Emperor, right? Literally. This is the Emperor that's stable, and this is the one who's got the devil under his staff here with the moon on his staff. This one's unclear. This is a false emperor, right? You were dealing with a false emperor, or you were in your false emperor energy, so therefore you were attracting false empresses, right? So masculine or feminine, whichever you identify with. But I feel like if this is the feminine, it's very obvious. This person that you think, it's like they could be an emperor. You could have been dealing with an Aries or Aquarius, or not Capricorn. Sorry, you could be dealing with an Aquarius. With the Fool. Like maybe they were just a baby. They were the Fool and not the Emperor. And they made you to feel like a fool. But if you want this energy, you have to get this one out of here. Just change your focus, meditate your breath on what this reality feels like. Put all of your air and fire in like a funnel and channel it, right? Channel it so that you're like a Care Bear, like you're beaming. Dave Chappelle, he's a Virgo, I believe. You're like that Care Bear skit that he does is so fucking funny to me. But the Care Bear stare, and like if you haven't seen it, it's funny. But yeah, like you're beaming this love, but you're able to beam it in the right direction instead of just like, you know, pouring it all over the place. So yeah, don't allow this moon energy, this lack of clarity to be a vampire and suck your intelligence out, right? And bring you into this place of overthinking of that. And I don't think that you're overthinking because, like, you might have people around you that are like, oh, I think you're overthinking it. Like, nobody's perfect. Take this person back, or, you know, forgive them or whatever. No, I think that you are overthinking in the sense that you're giving any thought to this person or this energy, this lower vibration energy, this false emperor, this person who has the devil underneath their indecisive ass staff, and they're like, and they're looking somewhere else, right? They're not showing their whole face. There's something so deceptive about this person. So you're gonna have to cut out those people who are telling you to stick around, who want you to be like, you know, if you have like friends who are single also, or friends who are married and they're like, it doesn't get any better than this, that's them. Like attracts like. Get out of situations where you're around people who are in low vibrational connections that are going to try and keep you in low vibrational connections so that they feel better about their life. That's their problem. And you don't have to fix their stuff for them. You're not the repairman, you're not the handyman, you know. And if you are, you need to do that for yourself, right? Stop fixing the homes of others, the broken homes of others. You've got your own home to work on. You've got your own broken heart and home to work on. Like, you need to just focus your energy there. Nine of Cups, Page of Cups. Page of Cups again. Knight of Cups. Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups, Knight of Cups, Nine of Cups. Six of Cups. I'm just going to continue through the whole deck here, but I feel like it's just more and more confirmation about the same thing. Like, it keeps going back and forth. These decks are really like matching up energetically as far as getting out of this feminine energy into your masculine energy so that you are able to meet up with your soul person, right? The person who feels like home. You're going to have to go within. You're going to have to be single. That means, like, I have a whole video that I want to do on, like, being single for a year. Because I feel like people are, particularly for us, because we are the over-investors. We are the Empress, all right? We're the Hierophant. We see the potential. We're very hopeful. And that gets us caught up in, and we are loyal to a fault there, and we are generous, right? So that can get into but we're very rarely, and Tauruses are very good about marketing for others and like advocating for others, right? If you ever talk with a Taurus, they're gonna say, oh, I have a great friend, this person's awesome, she's beautiful. Like, they can, just a falling white feather in the window, they can always recommend somebody else. It's like they're great at being a marketing assistant, but as far as being like the entrepreneur, the one who's actually being marketed, there's more doubt about self-worth there. And that's that Four of Pentacles. Is like, you have to kind of get into a place of being a hermit, and maybe being perceived as a dick, maybe being perceived as a bitch, whatever people are going to call you. Those who are right for you are not going to see it that way, because they're going to know what you're doing is for your betterment. And it's very unlikely that you even have any of those people around you, so you probably are going to have to be completely alone and isolated for a while to understand your heart, to self-realize your worth, and to get into a place where you know where to invest from here on out. Because the only time you know that is if you invest in yourself. And I feel like there's a lack of investment in self, and way too much investment in others, an over-investment in others, and then continual cycle of heartbreak and disappointment and attachment, because you're like, I expected them to be like me, and they are not like you. Nobody is like you, first of all. And then once you realize that, you find somebody else who's compatible with you, right? You find friends, you find jobs, you find work, you find things that really match up with you. But nobody does it half as good as you, right? Who sings that? That is in the Little Black Book. I just saw that in the Little Black Book, with Brittany Murphy. Maybe your name is Brittany, maybe it's Murphy. Maybe you sing. Yeah, this is like being the solo artist, and you've been collaborating with those who don't speak the same language, who don't want to put out art or things that are meaningful. They want to just monopolize and manipulate and self-serve. And you're wanting to serve the collective. You really want people to come together, right? You're like the coordinator and the collaborator. That's like that very like priest energy, high priestess, the priest of the Hierophant. It's like the Pope or the priest is like the early depictions of it. It's you bringing the congregation together so that you guys can worship the collective, right? That's what the true intention of spirituality and religion is the collective coming together to honor the collective. Whereas it's like you've been going to the church and you've been putting money in the tithing buckets or whatever. You've been going to been going on missions. You've been advocating for the church. You probably like brought people in, literally or metaphorically. You've been bringing people into this situation, right? You've been recommending, and you've been like the like a resource for people to come to this place, and this place is actually like a satanic chapel, right? And it's like you realize, oh shit, I've actually been worshiping Satan. I've actually been like worshiping these lower vibrations, because you were doing it out of love, you were doing it out of potential, you really felt like you were aligned. That's that false emperor. You really thought that you were aligned. You felt very close to your calling, and you were like, everything in my life has come to this point. And then now that you've returned to it, return to self, it being self, when you return back to self, you have to kind of rebuild all that investment. You have to save up all that money you spent. You have to save up all that energy, that love that you spent. Because when it's unrequited love, you're spending it. You're just like over-investing. You're overthinking. And I don't think, again, I feel like that overthinking is big, because you probably were told that you were overthinking something, like gaslighting. There's a lot of gaslighting going on. You were told that you thought too much, you were too sensitive, you were too, and it never made you feel like you were enough. And so you have to come back into a place where you're it's only overthinking or over loving or overdoing, over analyzing when you're doing it for others, right? Because you're not getting anything back. There's no reciprocation, so it's just draining your resources. The only way that you know that is in hindsight, when you take the time to invest in yourself and you rebuild how awesome you are, and you fill that cup and you're like, damn, this is a cool cup. Like, why did I do that? And you can analyze it just long enough to go, okay, I get why that happened. It was all part of my path. Most of the time you won't get an answer, and I feel like that's where a lot of Tauruses are stuck, is they want an answer. They want to know why things didn't happen the way that they expected them to, the way that they believed they would. So it feels like a missed opportunity. So a lot of us are settling in that place, and that's such a low vibration for where we're going and for what we're called to do. The work that we're called to do for the collective is so much more important than that person or that job or that friend, right? It's like The Rock, who I think is a Taurus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why they fucking cheated on you. It doesn't matter why you lost that job. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it moved you into a place of such lack that you were able to kind of hit that rock bottom. The rock. You were able to kind of launch yourself off, right? Sometimes you have to get down to the bottom so that you can, like a hippo, they don't swim, they actually just kind of boing, boing, they hit the floor of the water that they're in. They hit the floor and then they launch themselves up, right? But they are fast and they are fierce. So, yeah, hopefully there was something in there that encouraged you to just know that this happened for a reason. And if you are going to get into that place of faith, like if you're going to align with the 5D and call in this divine union and get on that frequency to where you can match each other and actually meet, in the 3D, then you have to honor the lows as much as the high that you are waiting for, right? And know that the lower you go, the higher you can go, because you can really bounce. You're going to get a lot more leverage to bounce. So it's just about spending that time to reinvest and turn all of that analysis paralysis into self-analyzing and shadow work, and just turn it inward. And discover things about yourself. Like, look at the potential of you. Imagine yourself at your own potential, because that's the only place you can play God, and it's not even playing. You're only playing God when it's with others. You're actually God of your creator, of your creation, of your reality, when it's for yourself, right? When it's for your highest self, when it's divinely aligned, then it all just kind of comes together. And others will just follow in suit. Those who are meant to follow in suit will. And you can attract those on your frequency. Okay, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. There's a lot in here. I hope that there was something in here that helped or encouraged you on this path. Keep going. Queen of Pentacles here. Like, keep going. Keep believing in your manifestations and your own worth and worthiness of those manifestations. And if you catch yourself sending out frequencies of low self-worth, flip it with an affirmation. Put words out into the universe, praying over your water, over your food. Put words of joy and abundance into everything that you consume. If you find that you're like scrolling and you don't like what you're seeing, get off the fucking internet. Change the movie. You have to curate. That's part of the hermit mode, is like curating an inventory of energy. So go back through the steps. If you feel you've been knocked off of your path, then go back through the steps. Go back through the major arcana get on the highest frequency of each major arcana, tap into the resources that are in your chart and that are around you and at your disposal to, at your luxury, not your disposal. They're at your luxury to really make yourself the emperor, the empress that you want in a counterpart. And that's the only person who's going to be like you, most like you, but different in all the best ways, right? In all the ways that help both of you grow. But they're going to speak your love language. They're going to be aligned with your path, because your path is not just for you. And you've been dealing with people whose paths were just for them. And so because you really want to be selfless, you have to be selfish first, right? You have to get into a place of self-work, working on what I need, what little me is struggling with. You have to really listen to your ego, evaluate the ego, and not let it rule you in a place that's deterring you off your path, and understand it in a way that you can nurture it that's the remothering process, right? So you have to remother yourself and refather yourself. You have to lead yourself and guide yourself, nurture yourself and activate yourself, right? So there's that duality. All right, I think that's it. I was gonna do a quick little, jump in, but I just feel like Taurus is we're leading the way. Really, we're leading the way. And so we have to stop following those who are wayward so that we can lead the way. All right. I wish you well. We'll check in again soon.